Oh, anyway, Susie and I were looking at videos on Hugelkultur, and I asked her, what does Hugel mean? Sue has German background, and she says, well, I think it means hill. And so we Googled it on YouTube and found all sorts of great videos on Hugelkultur, hill culture. And I guess basically to sum it up, it's you make a pile of compost and grow on it. And so we got to looking at this big pile that we have here of brush. We're in the middle of a fire ban here, so we've just been piling up all of our wood, not sure what to do with it yet. And so we've decided we're gonna try a Hugelkultur bed. Yeah, so the light bulb should have went off. We started to put compost in here. There's sticks and all sorts of stuff and garden debris. And one of the things we threw in was a squash, and the next thing you know, we had squash growing. So this is out of limit. Now this squash is growing far faster than the rest of the squash. And I'm like, look at the tomatoes that are growing in the compost. So, I mean, there's a big bell ringing here. This is a good idea. So we've decided to start here. We're going to start here with our first Hugelkultur garden. And the first thing we need to do is to make ourselves an outline with some larger wood. This wood's been lying around. It's partially decayed. Actually, these pieces we pulled out of the river a good 8 years ago, and we got all sorts of wood kicking around here that is going to help contribute to our first Hugelkultur garden. We built this compost bin this year just to take some of the excess wood that was kicking around. So we just kind of broke up wood, and in fact, this is kind of like a Hugelkultur garden all on its own. So I think we'll, either we'll use this to feed the other one, or else maybe we'll just start growing on that. Yeah, here's a nice big log we can use. I'm just gonna haul that over there too. Okay, so I hauled in this big log. It's over by the river. Now we got two of them. We got a basic outline formed here. And then the next idea is to fill that with paper and with cardboard underneath along the bottom. And I was noticing there's kind of a gap underneath. We'll want to kind of stuff that up, I think. I think I like it. I mean, it's pretty rustic right now, but it's just going to be a big hill. I'm not 100% sure about the spot we've chosen because of that big tree, but we do have a beautiful, the sun rises over there and sets over there, so for a good part of the day I would say we're going to get enough sun for this. What do you think, Gertrude? You going to help with the Hugelkultur? You going to choose sticks for us? Get them ready? Hey, you ready for the Hugelkultur? That's right. That's right. Yes, that's a good girl. That's right. We're going to put that right in the garden. So we have our basic form here. We're going to put down the cardboard and some paper, pizza boxes, and more paper. I'm going to just spread that all out over here on the bottom. I'm going to find some pieces of wood to stuff in there, and then we're going to put our first layer down. So everyone's saying to use some rotted wood and to use some live wood, and just use a good mixture of different woods, and we're going to end up just building a big mound here, and yeah, so we'll have our own Hugelkultur. We're getting this filled up with all kinds of cardboard and paper and stuff. They say that's the first thing to do, is cover off the ground underneath with this. And so we're just finding old scraps and whatnot, and scraps of paper and cardboard and whatnot, and just filling this up a little bit. So now we're just going to try and collect up all the old sticks and twigs that have been kind of hanging around I got a little pile here I can throw in. Well, I'm starting to fill it up. We're just gathering up wood from around the place, tossing it in there. I'm just going to steal some clippings out of here, out of one of our composts, and put it on over to the new Hugelkultur pile. Well, it's starting to hugel. All right. Well, check this out. I don't know, I'm pretty impressed. I'm pretty impressed. Doesn't take much to impress me, I guess, but no, this is really cool. Well, we're gonna have to call it quits. It's getting a little late, a little dark, but here's how we're doing so far. Yep. What a great idea.
Good morning. It's the morning after the night before. Oh wow, what a blitz. So my wife and I have been watching YouTube videos, I probably mentioned that before, on gardening, and what a great resource that is. Anyway, we stumbled across one on Hugelkultur, and my wife says, I want to do it now. And so we just hopped up and ran out and started. So this was last night's efforts. It was getting dark and we had to call it a day. We need to put many different types of layers on this, and the idea is we're going to let this go fallow over winter time, and then next springtime we'll top it up and put it into action. Yeah, I think I'd like to find a few more bigger pieces of wood. Might go for a little boat ride and collect some up. Most of ours are a little smaller in size, and I think I wanted a couple nice big pieces in there to make the bed last longer. I read how this will deteriorate over time, and so by putting varying sizes and varying degrees of decomposition, then you can extend your bed, the life of your bed. One of the YouTube videos suggested that you dig down when you prepare for your location, and I would tend to agree. I guess it makes sense to me, but we're on clay. We don't really have any topsoil. This grass barely exists, and 1 inch under, 2 inches under even, and you're right into a clay that, well, I suppose we could have dug it, but it just didn't make sense to us. So we used paper instead, and we'll go higher with our hill. I think that in the fall, when we've harvested all of our lettuce and eaten it all, and eaten our Swiss chard, I think what I'll do is turn these 2 pots into Hugelkultur pots. It's worth a try. I've got certainly enough soil there to grow plants, but not enough to fill the bucket. And what I've noticed here is the center one that gets the most light is the one that's growing the biggest. So I could stand to raise these by a good foot. So I think I'll do that with wood and debris. I think that would be a fine experiment. Yeah, so there's a fire pit again. So all that wood's gone. So that's kind of nice. I'm gonna dig out the ashes. I might throw some ashes in there. I'll do a little read-up first to make sure, but I think that we can scatter those ashes in the Hugelkultur as well. And then any day, if they lift the fire ban, then we could actually have a fire here. Well, I knew I wanted to expand the gardens. This year, well, I got the gardening bug, and this year I felt a little challenged to eat as much as possible from our garden. And so what I realized is we just don't quite have enough garden space. We want to grow a lot of lentils and beans for drying. Susie and I are mostly vegetarian. I mean, other than the fish that I catch, we just eat vegetables, and I have this dream to be able just to eat right out of my garden, and so it's been like glorious. I've felt like a king in heaven here, and then I've realized that there just isn't enough space to do what I want to do. So we wanted to take it to the next level, and so this concept of Hugelkultur is going to allow us to do some significant expansion, and with less labor. In all honesty, it's not very labor intensive at all. You know, a lot of this stuff that we have here, we have to deal with it anyway. We have to dispose of it somehow, and so anyway, I think I'll probably build another one right over here.